Listen to them fans go. Hell yeah. Let's see if we are getting the packets through. So I'm downloading a big file right now at the same time that we are uploading the bits and bytes. So hopefully it works out. Okay. Now what? I get a water. And then we could begin. I want to make it so you could resize the sub window. The sub window widget. And I did a little bit of refactoring off stream on the drawing code, but have not added resizing in any way. So I think I'll add it like invisibly, and then, or maybe just drawing a rectangle. And then after it works, we will like draw some kind of resize indicator. Yeah, okay. We're gonna have to figure that out because that's gonna be a little bit interesting because of the rounded windows. But, okay. So I said we have a resize dragging mode. There's no way to get into it though. So how do I set it? Okay. So if we draw the title bar, do we do this? If, okay, so if we should, after we get the resizing done, we should do the option where you can control the title bar. Maybe there should be a close button on the thing, right? Okay, so so on the sub window theme, here it is. So I added these resize flags. They don't do anything right now. Handle southeast just is the default. Let's just do that. And then what else? Okay, so if resize flags and I think I want a type for this. Like sometimes I like to anonymous, but here I think we're going to do this. And that way we could do this. Okay. So that's a little more readable. And there we go. I am in a hotel currently. Yes, that is correct. Florida is itself not a hotel. I don't know if you know that, but I am in a hotel currently. And you know, the camera on this laptop is honestly not too bad compared to laptop cameras that I've had in the past. I was surprised. Last time we streamed, like yesterday, I used a webcam, or not a, like a discrete webcam from a few years ago. And this is about as good or better, it seems like. Audio might not be as good, but the mic is quite bad. Yeah, okay, that's unfortunate. It's probably because the audio pickups are like down near the fans, right? Laptop mics are always terrible. Yeah, I wonder why that is. At least they stopped doing the stupid ass thing they were doing where they put the webcam down on the bottom so that they could make the top bezel thinner because laptop designers have no ideas and they think thin bezels is like a fucking thing. Like yesterday was clipping. Well, I could have turned it down then. Okay. Dude, the camera does belong in the middle of the screen because at least then you would be looking at people when you video conference with them. Okay, so if the resize flags, whoops, what am I doing? So if you have either of these flags set, then we're just gonna frickin' do the resize and see what happens. What do we do here over? Okay, so we say, so we have these, okay, get status flags for a rectangle. This rectangle is going to be, this is so weird, guys. Okay, look, when, I don't want to say what I was about to say. Never mind. Just take it for granted that something weird is happening. And that is all that we need to know. Okay, so when I was coming back to the hotel tonight, right? I'm on East Coast time, so it was like 10 p.m. and I'm going up in the elevator, or I'm waiting for the elevator in the lobby of the hotel. And there's this couple who comes up behind me, and they're an older couple, and maybe they just met tonight. I don't know, but the woman was like very drunk, and they got in the elevator, and I pushed 12th floor for them, and then they got out, and when they were getting out, I was like, I got this weird scent of like people who have been sweating all day at least and haven't showered and possibly for a few days, combined with alcohol smell, right? And I was like, oh, that's unpleasant. Um, and I keep smelling that smell in my room now. It's like I've been infected by the smell, and like once in a while it just shows up. It's like my brain cells have decided to smell that smell. So might be in my clothes. Well, they didn't touch me. Smell some coffee. Hmm. You know what I could do is I could make a green tea K cup, and then I would have some green tea to smell because I don't like coffee. Uh-oh, I pressed the button to start making the K cup and nothing's happening. I think it like timed out right when I was pressing the button. Okay, now it's going. Which is smellier, Florida or California? Honestly, California, because oh my God, dude, California's in bad shape. And everybody knows it, but a lot of people pretend like they don't know it. Did they smell like cream corn? No, this is not Twin Peaks. What part of Florida am I visiting? I'm driving around a number of places before I go to Europe for the new year. Um, and then after that, I might come back here. I might go back to the Bay Area. It's a shorter flight to come back here from Europe, so why not? It just depends on how urgently I need to get back. Beware, that's a secret. I don't want people stalking me in Europe. Smell pizza and the bad smell will be gone. But if I order pizza now, I will get fat. I haven't, so I ate dinner at like 3 hours ago. And then after that, I got a little dessert at a place. And I just tried to do push ups and like my stomach was full and didn't want to do them. So I stopped at 10. So like if I eat a pizza now, It'll be really bad. All right, I'm gonna turn the air conditioning on too. So if that increases the noise, sorry about that. How different does Florida feel compared to California? Pretty different. Um, Not everything here is old. Everything in California is old. Like not Europe old, but like mediocre old, right? Like hardly anything has been built in California since the 1980s. And there's actual new construction here. Like the only new construction in San Francisco is like crappy apartments that are small in like completely uninteresting buildings like the one that I live in right now. And in Florida, it's like, oh, they actually built more things. That's cool. And also, people are happier here. Basically, very few people are happy in California right now. The Salesforce building that is leaning now, that's not the Salesforce building. That's it's near the Salesforce building. Yeah. It's like a block away. Yeah, Miami is nice, although there are parts of Miami that are nasty as well. Am I on another housing search? Well, I mean, yeah, I just can't do California anymore. I just can't do it. So and it was getting cold, so I was like, let me just before vacation, I'll go somewhere because I'm essentially working remotely every day anyway. So I'll go somewhere and keep scouting out places to live. And it doesn't even have to be permanent. It could just be like for a year. Because at this point, I have no like at this point a year ago, I would have certainly figured that coronavirus would be over by now, right? But it's not. So why do you think it will be over a year from now, right? So I mean, it might be, but I say just do what you need to do to deal with the potential that maybe it will not end. Does it feel over in Florida? Yes. People who wear masks indoors are kind of weird here. Except, I mean, like employees at restaurants and hotels a lot of the time are wearing them as part of their job, but regular people mostly don't. Omicron might be the end. I mean, it might be. It also might not be, right? Or it might be for a while, and then some other variant that mysteriously has more mutations than is naturally expected will show up. And then people will make all sorts of more excuses for why that is. And then that one might be very badly infectious and have, we just don't have no idea, right? People wear masks in places. Okay, I don't know what that sentence means, but okay. There's only so many labs. I mean, there are a lot of labs. So the confirmed leak in Taiwan, which by the way, look that up if you hadn't heard about it. There's a COVID-19 leak in Taiwan from a BSL-2 lab, right? Because people feel fine experimenting on COVID at BSL-2. There are a lot of BSL-2 labs in the world. A lot. Is there any book I would recommend for making a physics engine? I have not read any game engine physics books, but I'm pretty sure there is literally a book called Game Engine Physics or something that everybody reads. Isn't there? Isn't there like a David Eberly book or something called Game Engine Physics? The Chris Hecker physics articles are very, very old. I don't remember what they say, but I would expect there's much more up-to-date information. The Delta Plus reward miles variant, yes. Yes. This green tea smells pretty good, but it's in one of those paper cups where you kind of taste the paper of the cup. Like that's kind of weird how that happens. You can also smell the paper of the cup. Real-time collision detection. Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah, you probably want both of those books. So Eberly used to run a website. I don't know if it's up anymore. Um, but he used to do tons and tons of code that he would give out to people for like intersecting different geometric primitives. And the last I checked, which was a long time ago, there was like a free version, and then you could license the better version from him. And so probably his book has a lot of stuff about how to intersect geometry, maybe. And Christer Eriksson's book, I don't know. It might be more about dynamics. Who knows? They probably both have a decent amount of overlap as well. Real-time collision detection is great, but has no physics. Okay. Well, then if you get those two books, then that'll be good. Okay. Anyway, we're going to get status flags. If status is over, oh yeah. Um, oh, this gives us a pressed. I kind of like how I did this code. It's pretty good. If we get a pressed, it's going to be resize dragging. Okay, we're gonna. I actually don't remember if I can call active widget add more than once. Whoops, that's in system. Yeah, okay. We'll do it just once for cleanliness anyway. Actually, we'll do all this stuff down here. Oh, actually, no, we don't want to do that. Oh, no, we don't even want to do... Okay, never mind. Never mind. This is fine. Okay. So anyway, we set resize mode to pressed. Now, we don't know what this rect is. Resize rect. Okay, what is resized rect? We need a way in the theme for people to tell us how big they want their resize rect to be. how do we specify relative render target height? Okay, let's do this. Resize rect size. This is going to be bigger relative to render target height. Okay, so title bar height. All right, this is going to be resize W. I don't know. Theme dot what did I just call it? Resize rect size times render target height plus 0.5 to round and floor. Okay, so then we are going to say resize rect is a rect dot x equals r dot x plus r dot w minus resize w. Is it actually called w? I don't even remember. It's called GetRect. Yes. Okay. So resize rect dot x, resize rect dot y is r dot y minus r dot h plus resize w. Resize rect dot w is resize w, resize rect dot h is resize h. However, we are going to want to make this a little bit bigger in a minute. After we have resize working, because we want to add that slop like is in Windows, where you can be outside the region and still resizing. But yeah, okay. So resize flags. Whoopsie. What is it called? Oh, it's just theme. Them. RTH. R.x. I don't have the rect. Oh. There we go. Resize H. I literally. Okay. So now we're not actually changing the mouse yet. So here I can still drag. I haven't broken that. And down here I should be in the resize rect, but we don't know. Now let's actually change the mouse pointer for either of these. And I actually could see, wanting to control that a little more with some flags, right? Because like maybe you only want it to change when you're dragging, or maybe you don't want it to change at all. Let's change it. Okay, for the resize region, we're going to want to change it when you're over anyway. So let's practice that for both of them, and then we can like make sure that it's good. So you heard me on that Gamer Guy podcast. Well, it was a really great experience being on that Gamer Guy podcast. I really, like, man, that Gamer Guy, He really knows how to game and podcast. Which one was that? I don't know. I'm just responding to the chat. Okay. Um, so is it coming with a UI library package? It already does. We're making it better. Like prior to like last week, it wasn't really something that people could try and use unless they wanted to do very simple things. Now it's starting to be more like something that people could really use. Um, Now, we don't give them nice looking presets yet, so that's something we're going to want to do maybe during vacation here. But the other thing I want to do during vacation is make it so that our editor uses this for at least some of the windows, so that we're like field testing it for real instead of in examples. Typo resize rec.h equals resize w. That is not a typo. There is no resize h. It is a square region down in the corner of the window. So the width and height are the same. How about kicking my feet back on a beach with a mojito? Yeah, I will do that for at least a couple days. I'm going to a pretty nice hotel tomorrow that's like a beach hotel. And I'm gonna try and chill and do whatever, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so like when I run this example that we're running right now, like this program that does all this just ships with the compiler, right? With like all these different widgets, right? So you get all this, and you have the source code, so you can modify it, and the source code is very simple, so you really can modify it. Like the open source talking point is, oh, you have the source code, so you can modify it, but then they're talking about like GCC or some shit that's like 35 million lines of code. Here it's like, no, it's actually small, right? Okay. You're stealing my function syntax. I didn't really make it up, but feel free. Um, Yeah, so this is an interesting thing for the people here who are on the beta, right? Because we've been talking about how this language doesn't quite yet have like an is a certain symbol defined thing. It has no primitive like that. And the reason it doesn't have that is because it's harder here than it is in like C to do that. Because in C, you just go top to bottom on any file. And so is something defined as trivial. And in this language, it is not trivial. However, if we're willing to have certain guarantees or certain constraints, like after you ask if it's defined, it's not legal to add it later, right? Um, and so therefore, for your program to compile consistently, it has to actually be there at parse time in a file, which most things are, right? Um, then this would be a good case for using that. Because here's the deal, right? I would like this UI library to be very modular in the following way, right? Okay, A, one thing that we know about UI libraries is a lot of people want like different widgets that do different stuff, right? Now, B, like happens in a lot of software, what some people want is not that much like what other people want, right? And a widget library is really like, it's really easy to imagine there are 9 widgets in the widget library that you are never going to use and don't care about, right? Um, and so I want to make it so that you can just copy the module into your source tree, or that'll happen by default once we ship these build options that do that, if you turn those on. And then I want you to just be able to delete those widgets, right? So like they're just not even in your source code anymore. And why would you do that? It's like, well, firstly, the compiler isn't going to like load or parse them or whatever, right? Um, but secondly, uh, it's your code footprint is smaller. Like the amount of code that you actually have to think about that is in your project that you are shipping is smaller. You don't like have to wonder if there's functions in some of these files that you think aren't being called, but maybe they are or whatever. It's like, no, it's all gone, right? And that keeps the code clean because people have to be able to delete those individual widget files, right? And have the library still work. And then the same with backends, right? If we make a Vulkan backend and a GL backend, which we already have, and like a DirectX 11 backend, which I should do because we already have a DirectX 11 example, it's trivial, right? If we ship these things, um, you probably only want one of them, or one of who knows, maybe you want all of them, but like delete the ones you don't want, right? And then they're gone from the source code. So we want to make that easy to do, right? What would the update process look like? It would have to basically be a merge conflict situation. I'm not sure, right? So here's the thing. Maybe really what it is not that you manually delete the file. I mean, you should always be able to manually delete the files, right? But like here's like I was saying a minute ago, I want to add build options that are like, hey, when we pull this module into the project, make a local copy, right? And then henceforth use that copy as the authoritative copy, right? So that way, if your compiler updates, you keep the old one or whatever, right? Now, you may want to do that only for certain modules and not other modules, right? Or whatever. So there has to be some way of declaring this. And while there's some way of declaring that, there could also be some way of saying, just when you do this, don't copy the following files, right? And then when you pull the thing in, it would just not have those files, right? Now, this assumes that this becomes enough of a convention that people actually want to do it and that it makes sense, right? Which is unknown at this time. But we have to find some way to keep volume of code down while programs remain robust, right? But another option just to have a don't include. I mean, like maybe you could put that at the import statement site. It's just that might end up being a large and chunky import statement. Maybe it could take an array of strings that you declare somewhere else. I don't know. Is that problem related to the is defined what problem? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're referring to now. for example, there's a line there that returns dot brace brace. Why not return brace brace, no dot there? Because don't bother me with syntax, that's why. If you don't know the answer to that question, make a very complicated programming language as a learning experience, and then we can talk about it. Talk about why my development priorities are what they are. Started by checking whether a symbol is defined, and then start talking about this module copy modify thing. The reason I was talking about whether a symbol is defined is because, like, how do you, okay, so let me give a very concrete reason why we would want this. So in the themes file, there's this thing called overall theme that maybe you load from a file. And like, if I'm going to define a theme that has stuff for all these widgets, right? There's individual themes per widget and there's members here, right? Well, if I don't do checkboxes, if I just don't compile in that file, then we're not going to know what a checkbox theme is, right? So you kind of want to if out this, like you want to say this is here if and only if this file is included. Now there's other challenges involved in this, right? So like when you deserialize this from somewhere, you need a serialization scheme that lets you skip over these if you don't know what they are, right? So like that's a whole other thing. Um, Not necessarily that hard, but maybe hard to do in a good way. I don't know. Um, the amount of configuration files that you have to deal with is ridiculous. Oh, I hear you. I hear you. Now, one alternative is to somehow design this library so that it doesn't have the, okay, one thing we could do here, actually, right? Instead of this, it might be a better design to have a meta program here be like insert. By the way, this doesn't fucking work. People haven't reported to me, but like when you say this, it doesn't actually work right now. You actually have to say insert run. This is supposed to work, so I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so maybe people don't know that that's supposed to work, but it's in one of the how-tos, I think. Anyway, here, you know, maybe we go like generate one field per subclass of active widget, right? Because there's this active widget thing that these need to be subclassed from. And those could actually all be called, I don't know, to not have confused, maybe you could to lower all of them, or maybe it's like, maybe it's the type name with an underscore, which is sort of what I do in the game, right? And you just have one of these for every widget and it's auto-generated. The thing is, we would need to tag this to only run when we know we have all the subclasses of active widget, which there's kind of a convention for doing. I don't know if it's in default meta program. No. There's no other way to add things. So maybe we'll put that in there. It's something that we do in the Sokoban game. We say like for every subclass of entity, like run this thing, right? So that would make it modular, and then you wouldn't need to if this out, but it's a little bit less self-documenting, but you could put a giant comment here saying what this does, right? Maybe that's just better. Because maybe by the time you if out all of these, it would get kind of messy anyway. You definitely want an is defined. Yeah, I feel like it's a thing that a lot of people want. Anyway, though, I think this is a longer term concern. I don't think I'm going to do it anytime too soon. This is just more like one of these design parameters where I'm just thinking I don't want to make it not possible to do this, right? Okay. Anyway, what were we even doing? We were going to change the cursor. How did we do this in scrollable region? Pointer, no, cursor, set. Oh, it was in slidable region. Oh, by the way, we have to change this. This isn't right. Don't call GetRect set pointer image directly. We actually want to call draw. We want to go through draw procs here. Yeah. So we could say okay. Let me go back. I'll just do this right now. Actually, it's lowercase, right? Okay, so what's pointer image? Here we say should I make a pointer image none? So that you can just set it? Nah, I don't know. Okay. Focus. Focus. Don't pay attention to people talking about meaningless syntax in the chat, please. Um, so where did we leave off before we were talking about the file loading? Oh yeah, so we want to change the pointer image when we are over either of these regions. Let's make an extra variable, and if we want to clean it up, so we're going to have a Boolean and then an active pointer. Um, so we say false. So we can say if state.dragging active pointer equals dot dragging free for now. Active pointer set is true. Otherwise, if we're over, we're just going to set it to free in all of these. Dang it. Let's just check this. Okay, so we're going to do this. And here. Okay. Put these flags on button state. That could be a good idea. So, we're just going to say again, status is get status flags, title bar rect. If it's over, then we want to do the same thing. Okay. Okay. Well, that's not changing. That is, though. Hey, look at that. Okay, so we maybe don't actually want it to change till you hold the button, but this is good practice. Okay, so that's that. All right, so the question is, why are we not getting that one? Okay, get status flags, resize rect, full rect plus W minus resize W, Y minus H plus resize W. No. No, okay, that's wrong. Still not explanatory because all right, we need to see what's going on. Let's try drawing that rect. Well, let's print the size first. Like, that is the most likely issue, is there's just, it's 0 pixels or something. Nope, 54 pixels. All right. Well, what's going on? Okay. 1188 minus 216. Okay, it is off the bottom of the screen somehow. Okay. Okay, it's down here. See? See, we're going into resize mode down there. Okay. What? Oh, no, because I'm stupid. I keep forgetting we're in right-handed coordinates. I keep brainwashing myself. Okay, there we go. Boom. 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 Okay. So now we just want to let you resize the window. Okay. Well, that happens somewhere. Here we go. If it's resize, state.full.rect.w plus equals dx and h minus equals dy. Okay. Boom. Oh no. Okay. Well, the x. Yeah. Okay. No. We need to go that way. We need to go that way. All right. So h plus equals dy, y minus equals dy. Oh, but dy, yeah, okay. We'll get it eventually. Wait. Okay. Right. So dy down. We'll get it. We'll get it. Wait. Now they're both -1. So, okay, the final thing. We're gonna go. This is what happens late at night in Florida, guys. It's like I just don't even think about anything. I just change things. Hey, okay. Uh-oh. I made the window negative. Okay. Let's not do that. In fact, let's not make it go less than 1 pixel, honestly. Actually, let's set a minimum resize size on the window that you can set in the theme. Okay, so vector 2 dot, I don't know, 0.075, 0.08 relative to render target height. Not width and height, just height for both. Okay. So I'm making this bigger than the rect size. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say min W is floor theme dot whatever times RTH plus 0.5, right? And what is whatever? It's the thing, resize minimum dimensions. Let's call it minimum size. It's shorter. Dot X, right? Min H, theme. So what I kind of want to do, I kind of just want to figure out the dy and clamp it and then just do this at the end and also the dx, right? Okay. So we're going to have min w and min h. All right. And then we're going to say, I don't know, let's be super lazy about this. New w is let's call it f. All right, we have a short name for all these little things. So new w is f dot w plus dx. New h is f dot h minus dy, right? And then we're going to say clamp new w1 and min w, so that if min w goes less than 1 due to bad user input or whatever, let's just do this. Because I don't, yeah. All right. So we always want to be at least one. Guys, I think my Emacs locked up. What's happening? Are we streaming? Oh boy. That is great. It was loading all those fonts. All right. Okay. So, new W, new H. Like, I bet they're really impressed by all that international text that they wrote for the hello page that takes them 20 seconds to load on a year 2021 supercomputer. Oh my God. Okay. So we're clamping these at 1. And now we're going to go. I mean, this is a little bit of a lazy bones way to do it, but so because we need to adjust not by the original dy, but by the clamped value. don't want to just, we don't want to set, I don't know, math error could be pernicious in some way. Okay. Am I French? Okay. Let me think about this. Nevertheless, we're going to say, dy equals new h minus f dot h, right? And then like that. Why don't we do that? It's just a little bit, I don't love that, if I'm being honest. Anyway, so now, okay, now I can't do anything. Great. Wonderful. What? What? Why can't I even move the window now? What did I do? It's not my fault. Did I do something down here? What did I do? Because I don't think anything in here would affect the scenario. Oh, wait. No? No. Oh, yeah. No, guys. Duh. Duh. I'm a programmer. I know how to program. Excuse me. Okay, well now the window exploded off to the universe. But at least that was good. Let's verify that we can still move it. All right, great. So why did we explode off to the universe? So min W should never be less than 1. New W, new H. We were casting a number to minus 30. I don't get it. This all looks fine. All right. Eric Weinstein's theory of everything. Okay, so why did we go to minus 130? That's very weird. F dot Y. New H is F dot H minus dy. Okay. Okay, so first of all, it should be this, but I don't think that would make us explode. Guys, I'm so confused. See, right-handed coordinate systems are the best, except for some reason, here it's confusing me a lot. Wait, so dy, when we go down, is going down. What is my deal? Whoops, I keep compiling. Okay, clamp dy minus 454. Okay, well that is definitely wrong. Okay, first of all, I'm clamping between one. This is nonsense. Oh my God. Why was I doing this? This was my brain being in Florida. Okay. Okay. There's no maximum. Just going to do that. Now that still shouldn't hose it, but all right. Nu h is f dot h minus dy. So nu h minus f dot h is minus dy actually. But that just means this is, I mean, this should have been a plus anyway, because dy is supposed to, yeah, dy is kind of covariant with dy. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is no surprise because we're not clamping. So literally none of that stuff is running. So the question is when we get little, oh, we got little. We got little and we're clamped. Okay, we still have this thing, just like we had with the slidable region, we have this thing where once the cursor drifts, we're just adding relative mouse. So we resize. I feel like we're going to want to make it so that if you do this, you have to come back so that we're using like the absolute position and not the relative position. But right now I'm not going to worry about it because what we care about is just the ability to resize right now. Yeah. Okay. Keep the title readable. I don't think so because the problem with that is, if you have an internationalized program, you don't know how long that title is, right? And so then you would have behavior that depends. I mean, we could make that like a style option that you could optionally choose, but I don't think I would turn that on by default because you don't want unpredictable behavior like that to be a default. How's it going, everybody? So I think the next thing I want to do is respect the flags. Well, also, how do we decide? how do we decide whether you want to drag horizontal or vertical or free? And that's by your position in the rectangle, right? And, you know, we can just say if you're within the rightmost, we can hard code it for now. If you're within the rightmost, I mean, we can be really lazy butt about it to begin. If you're in like the rightmost 15%, you go horizontal. If you're in the bottommost 15%, you go vertical. If you are um, if you're in both, right, then you're still diagonal. And that's a little bit weird because it gives you a little singularity point in the middle, right? But yeah, okay. So we want that to be on state. And that is subwindow theme dot resize flags. And okay, so we're going to implement the feature where you hold shift and it resizes proportionally. Probably. I mean, it'll also be a thing that you can just set on the widget where that's the only way, right? Um, but yeah, we could actually, well, let's do that right now. Let's do the shift thing. Well, okay, first let's do the regions. Okay, so um, so down here where we set the mouse pointer now, okay. So we get these. So okay. For now, we're just going to say we're not going to do anything. So once we get this working, it's literally should behave like it was, but we're going to do this here. Okay, so when we are resizing, okay, if HV and let's do this. If HV is equal to both, right? Else if HV is equal to dot horizontal, right? Else we do a thing there, right? So dragging free, dragging horizontal, dragging vertical. But none of those, I mean, it should always just be the both. Oh yeah. Wait, what's wrong with that? Oh my, what? Oh, I can't believe this worked. Lol, it worked. Lol. Okay. Okay, here we go. So we're resizing. That's fine. We're not doing anything special with the cursor yet. We're resizing. That's fine. Okay. Why? Because our resize flags are always the resize flags on the theme. Now, what if, just to change the cursor setting, I go down to the theme and I change the default resize flags to not have vertical? What happens then? Oh, well. Oh, right. Because we set it to plus whenever we're in the region, which is a little bit hinky. So we're actually going to want to, after we're going to want to make a function that tells us where we are. But here we go. It's setting that cursor, right? And if I change this to be just vertical, that'll work too. There we go. Okay. So now, actually, let's leave that for a sec. No, okay, hold on. Let's just go back and continue what we're doing. So, and now we want to say what is this flag? Okay. So we're going to make this function, and this function is going to tell us where we can go. All right. So, you know what? Let's just take these resize flags out of here, which will give us a shorter name for them. Like we don't have to put this. We have to put this. All right. So we return resize flags. Flags is a resize flags. All right. Okay. Margin is 0.15. Hard coded right is cut right, resize rect margin. Bottom is cut bottom, resize rect margin. Okay. In right is inside. Is inside. Is it really worth this? I don't know. Is inside x, y, right. In bottom. This is inside x, y, bottom. Okay. Okay, how do we do this? F and dot horizontal, if F and vertical, else, okay, vertical only. So if we're in horizontal, then maybe we want to factor these down. I don't know. But anyway, if we're in horizontal, well, if in right, flags or equals horizontal. All right. If in bottom, dot vertical, we are in both, right? Okay. Wait, we don't need to do this. So what I'm trying to do, okay, let's try this a different way. Let's do this. We're going to mask things off. We're going to be subtractive, right? So we're going to say flags equals both. Okay, and then if not horizontal, we remove that. Okay, if not vertical, we remove that. Else, if we're not in right, actually this is not correct. Oh, dang it. This is not correct either. Fudge. Okay. How about this? If in right and in bottom, or not in right or in bottom. I feel like we can do some De Morgan's law on that. That's in right XOR in bottom, right? No. Yeah, it's not not XOR. Okay. We'll set the flags as though all were available. Yeah. Okay. So if this flags equals both, else if in right flags equals dot horizontal, Okay, so we set these flags. Now we mask these off, okay? Okay. However, oh, because we're not actually, no? I thought we did everything that should hook these all the way up. Wait. Oh, we're not, okay, we're not even calling this every frame, which we should be. That's the part I forgot. Okay, there we go. So I clicked on the right margin, now we have horizontal, right? If I click down here, okay, that didn't work. In bottom false. Okay, it's just very thin. 0.15 is not enough. But we'll be able to tell when we add, there we go. And if I click out here, it's, okay, that's working. We just need to do the every frame thing. Let's make it 0.25. Okay, now, or maybe I was too far to the right. Anyway, get resize flags based on mouse position. Okay, and here, we're going to say active pointer equals get pointer from resize flags. Flags. All right. All right. Okay. So get pointer from resize flags. I don't know. Locked. Who knows? Okay, and then this is okay. How we doing? Nah, I kind of saw a little horizontal, buddy. I think it's literally 0.25 of a pixel right now. Like I'm not. Let's put a no check in on here, so we're sure to delete it. Is inside cut right. Yeah, you know what? I think cut is in pixels. I don't know why I thought it was proportional. Okay. There we go. Okay, now it's quite wide. It's maybe too wide again. But there we go. So we're in this borderlands. And we're in this borderlands. So if we're here, so we're not actually constraining things based on the drag. But yeah. We're changing the bitmap. So now we just have to constrain the drag. the way we do that is very simple. Oops. dx and dy, and if it's resize, if we're not dragging horizontally, dx is 0, and if we're not dragging vertically, dy is 0. Dang it. Dragging resize flags. Okay, so for here, and oh, I can't make it taller. For here, oh, I can't make it wider. But if we're here, oh, look at that. Look at that. And then we can, of course, still look at that, folks. Now we might want to consider resizing off the bottom or something. Like right now, we're just implementing resize region down here. I'm not sure how I feel about this, because I think I'm used to in Windows just dragging from here. But at the same time, having your whole shit be active all the time, I think is a bad habit. Like, I don't know. I kind of like the precision of being down here, but of course we don't visually hint this right now that that's the resize region. So who knows? Is there some spec? No, we don't care about specs. We don't care about specs. Will it have metaprogramming stuff? Maybe. If I drag the corner past the bottom right of the outer window, I would not be able to make it smaller. That is true. That is true. I'm not going to worry about that yet. Because honestly, at this point, even if the resizing was on either side, I also wouldn't be able to make it smaller. So do we want to do something about that? Do we want to not let you drag it off the window? Like resize past the edge? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Copying Windows behavior would make things easy for most end users. Yes, but that's the way that you propagate mediocrity and bad decisions until the end of time. Somebody, the line must be drawn here. You know what I'm saying? Now, that said, I'm not sure that when this particular piece of Windows is bad. In fact, it might be totally fine. I'm just saying that that's not the way we run this project in general. Could implement double click on the title bar. That's true. That's true. I mean, we definitely don't want to implement all the bizarro Windows bullshit behaviors, right? Like this fucking thing. Oh, I turned it off, thankfully. Oh, no, I didn't turn it off. There we go. The worst thing ever added to Windows, everybody. The worst goddamn thing ever added to Windows. They thought that was so cool when they put it in, and it's so terrible. May I ask why I don't care for a spec? No, specs are terrible documentation. Unless for certain kinds of jobs, specs are good. For example, if you want to clone the compiler, or if you want to, I don't know, write a formal program verifier or something. But literally 0 people using the language right now would benefit from a spec. They would all benefit much more from increased documentation of the kind that we have and of bug fixes and functionality increases. Those are what will help people. Is the Win tab feature? Yeah, that's still there. So by the way, I now don't know why my desktop window is selected in yellow, and once that happens, it like never goes away. That's some new thing. I don't know what that is. Now we just have a yellow screen till I reboot. I mask somewhere for horizontal in both cases. What? Let's look for that. Oh, here. Wait, then how did this work? Oh, because we didn't actually test that part. Okay, let's test that part. That part is going back here. Now we're setting our window so it's like, look, you can only horizontal resize, right? So now anywhere in this whole region we make it horizontal. Again, that's it's maybe questionable decision, but that's what we programmed for now, right? And then if we go do vertical, vertical. All right, so we have a window that moves around. It resizes horizontally and vertically with constrained motion. We have, it occludes other widgets and stuff. How many lines of code is this widget? It's 286 lines. So we will not get hired for the LLVM team at this rate. Or the TensorFlow team. Can I make a second green tea K-cup? Or is it hardwired to reject it the second time? I think it's doing it. I think it's doing it. You have to answer the question of at what cost. You can't pretend like that shit's free. You have to answer the at what cost question. If I knew how to make the cost low, we would do that. But I don't know how to make the cost low. There might be a way. It's not like I've thought super hard about it for like a year or anything, but I don't know offhand how to make the cost low. Okay. Okay, so the proportional thingy Um, let's just hard code that for now. Later, maybe there could be a key binding on the thing. Um, but we're going to put that in this function. So where okay. So we're going to go back to sub window. And in this function, we're going to say if, okay, so first of all, if the input is proportional, else if you know what, we'll just do this. Short circuit or. All right, so I actually don't think it's a good idea for me to drink more tea, but it is what it is. Oh yeah, we were going to cap the resize and we haven't actually done that. Anyway, so we're in theory setting this proportional flag, but like it doesn't matter because we're not paying attention to it yet. We could actually just print it out for a second to make sure that we know, because it's going to be a little bit of programming to make sure that it's good. Uh, at cost of no seg faults, that is not a cost, bro. Look, if you're not actually willing to do a cost benefit analysis on features, this is not the channel for you, and don't bother me. Right? Okay. So cost of removing seg faults means you're losing the ability to find errors. No, not really. The cost is you kind of can't do systems level programming very well, right? Without a bunch of other stuff, which might be worth it, but like you have to add a bunch of stuff to the language now. And then you have to force people to use that stuff. And then you have to have corresponding runtime checks that are enabled in debug builds, probably. And maybe it's just too many and you drown in them and your debug build is a lot slower. Like, I don't know. We need to see. Maybe you could do them only on entry to functions. Maybe it would be fine anyway. I don't know. Like, here's the thing, right? I do think null crashes are a problem. Not nearly as much of a problem as people pretend they are, right? Because we're sort of in that way that we're in clown world with everything in the year 2021. Um, we're in clown world with regard to null pointer crashes, because people pretend like they're a lot worse than they actually are. They're actually, as some people in chat are saying, they're very good during development a lot of the time, right? The problem is just sometimes they're not good, and they're really not good when you ship to users if you somehow allow them to ship to users, which you should not if you can help it, right? Um, the problem is if you hire programmers who are really bad, then you're going to generate a lot more of this problem, right? And so, this is one of these things where a lot of modern languages are designed around preventing the damage that bad programmers can do to development. And that is a real thing. That is like a legit thing. Um, and I'm not saying that only bad programmers make null pointer crashes. I'm just saying they make a lot more, right? And they also don't fix them very rapidly, right? So, and that is, it is a real problem when you're in the middle of doing something and you hit someone's null pointer crash. So, it's not like I'm saying it's not a problem. I'm just saying I don't right now know how to make a solution that's so much better than the problem for the kind of work that we do and the level of programmers that we employ. I just don't know what's an obvious win, right? Especially, we want to keep the complexity of the language down. It's quite complex right now. It's like, we're like 5% as complex as C++ or something, right? We're getting up there. So, adding a lot more complexity, you have to ask how much complexity are we adding versus, what are we getting? You're human and you make mistakes, right? And then usually when you make a null pointer crash, you see it right away. It crashes your program because you're testing the things that you worked on, right? Almost all null pointer crashes are caught very quickly. That said, some of them aren't, right? But it's a small percentage that aren't. Leaning to no null, you can't do systems programming without null pointers. Sorry. It's just not possible. So like then you have to, so then if you're trying to solve this problem, right, you have to have a way to say, I'm going from raw memory to non-raw memory, and please apply these checks now or something, right? Because you don't want to have this C++ problem where you claim that something's a reference, right? References are supposed to be non-nullable in C++. You can quite often claim that something's a reference and therefore not null, but still have it in reality be null, right? So you want to avoid that problem too. Like if you're claiming that something is non-nullable, you want it to really be non-nullable. So functional language, oh yeah, well, that's a different thing. All right. So let us clamp. We're going to once again go back to clamp. Um, oops. Okay, so we're going to do that. And we need max W. not wax W, max W is RTW minus what are we calling the rectangle? F dot X. Max H is RTH minus F dot Y. Except we're subtracting H. Dang it. No, we're not. I keep getting confused about whether we switched back to left-handed coordinates because I was thinking about that for a while, for like weeks, and we didn't. So, well, I guess I'm also thinking about other APIs. Okay, so that's our max height. I don't think we have an RTW, right? Okay. Actually, let's do that. Yeah. We might feed clamp in inverted interval, but all right. So we do that, we do that. So now we can't just, oh, maybe we can just. I think we can. Okay. Can't go past the end of the window. Can't go, oh, whoa, whoa. Okay. Right, we actually don't, we don't want to check against the top. We want to check against the bottom. Max H is R dot Y? No, wait. Okay, hold on. Full rect. Why isn't this right? Oh, because it's the wrong. It's no? Yes. Okay. Okay, because this would be if we were enlarging upward, right? But we're enlarging downward. So we want f dot h plus render target height minus y. That way. So f dot h is the current window height. No, it's just Y. Wait. Yeah. It's just that. All right. Seems weird. That's mentally a weird quantity, but hey, look. There we go. Can't go. Can't go. Cannot go. This window style looks kind of weird with the, because we're rounding the title based on its own thing. So like we eventually might, oh, we can actually, there's two things we could do. One, we actually have the ability to match this one to this one, the curvature, which still might be weird. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's kind of funny that we can do this though. So, okay, well, this is pretty successful. It might be time for me to go to bed. Um, we can resize things. We're going to want to, I think next stream we will do a couple of things. Like we're going to want, I think we are probably going to want a resize window region here and here, which is easy to add to what we already have. Now, that said, like we're going to want it to extend outside, right? So we're going to want some theme options for that. And see, what we don't have on this right now is fancy fringe. Like Windows now, see the fancy fringe around the window? We have that in our editor. I don't know if ours is better or what, but it's actually, they're like doing it by convolving some stuff, and it's weird because here it's like stronger, and then there it's not stronger. I don't actually like that. So like what we do in the editor is we just alpha blend a fringe. It actually looks a little bit weird sometimes. But because of mock banding, but with rounded corners, it won't have mock banding. So we could add the fringe, and then the fringe could also sort of denote the region over which you resize. I guess they're separate things. Anyway, we could re-enlarge the windows. Yay! It doesn't go out of the window now. Yes, that is what we have been programming lately. You can like move it out, which is maybe kind of bad. But just don't let go of the button right now when you do that. like maybe we want to add a parameter for how far these things can go. Like what's the, because you know, you might not want it to be the full window, right? You might have like a sub-region over here, and this is not like a hierarchical UI where you make sub-regions inside sub-regions and whatever. So we might want you to be able to say, here's an area. And then maybe there's a flag about whether you could go partially out of the area or not, or whether you just stop at the edge. Okay, let's start writing down some of these ideas. So, incomplete, um, visual dragging corner situation. We need to draw something there. We need option for horizontal dragging strip, option for vertical dragging strip, HV dragging strips can extend outside the window configurable, occludes background stuff. Draw fringe. Sub-region ability to set a sub-region. That constrains the windows, sub-windows. Flag determining whether sub-windows are wholly contained in the sub-region or whether they have some minimum containment of the draggable title area. Okay. Make sure some part of the title is always visible. Yeah. Yeah, since that's what you actually grab, it's reasonable. Oh, and then close button. And this isn't too bad. I mean, you know, all this stuff, it's probably like a day of work altogether, like a day of real work. But we're coming up on vacation time, so it'll probably take more than that because we're in lazy mode. Let's make sure all the tests still work, and then I can check this in. Okay. Oh, and then make sliding and dragging be based on absolute mouse positions rather than slidable region sliding and sub-window dragging be based on absolute mouse positions rather than relative deltas. Because right now we're just using the deltas from the input system, which is why if you drag too far and then come back, it like desyncs from the cursor, right? And that's a pretty easy thing that's orthogonal to, like a lot of these are orthogonal to other things. Or not totally orthogonal, but they're, they're doable as separate stuff. Oh, let's go to the changelog and say, um, we're hopefully going to fix this. Oh, by the way, I got a new laptop to install the Linux on, and so I'll maybe be doing that tomorrow, so that we can test this on a faster laptop. Refactored themes, and state structs. No, state structs already work. Wait, what did I do today? I think it was just the themes. I think they typed this today. Okay, the sub window widget can now be resized by dragging in the corner. It has options controlling how you resize it. Oh no, I wanted to go to bad guys, but we. Okay, hold on. Make proportional resizing actually proportional. You know what? Let's just try it, and I might be too tired. Okay, so if we're resizing, so we're doing cowabunga oriented programming. I'm running the wrong thing. I wanted that. Okay, so here I'm going to drag, and it's not proportional because I'm not holding shift, but here, oh, okay. So now we're getting proportional. So when I'm holding shift, oh, the cursor is checking the entire flags word against both and doing the case. So that's not what we want. But yeah, okay. So the flagging is working. So here, I'm just going to do this. Whoops. So later we might actually want, whoops, later we might actually want a different, okay, that's not proportional, and now a shift and proportional. So we might want a different actual mouse cursor if you're doing proportional, but I don't know if Windows has enough default cursors and whatever, so maybe it's fine. So let's actually try to do it. So aspect H over W is f dot h divided by f denom. F denom is if x, f dot w, then f dot w else 1. It really should be frickin' okay. So that's width over height. I mean, this is sort of the different, for some reason I decided that I like, sorry, height over width. Even though when you talk about monitor aspect ratios, you talk about like 16 by 9 and stuff. I don't know why I don't remember why I decided that. I had a reason why I liked it. Northwest to southeast. Oh, right. That's true. Okay, let's just put that on the to-do so that, whoops. Uh, we actually we put that cursor in the thing. Okay, so anyway, so aspect H over W, we're just going to do that. Okay, so now we're going to go new aspect is new H over new W. All right, so if we're doing proportional, see, okay, we actually don't want this to be subject to like weird floating point error, so we want to compute it when the drag starts. But we can skip that for now. So again, we're going to make that another one. Okay. So for now, we're just going to do it every frame because F it. So we do this aspect, and what are the flags called? If flags and proportional, we get the new aspect. All right, if new aspect is less than okay, if the new aspect is less, that means it's not tall enough, right? Um, Now the problem is, I guess that depends how we're dragging. Right? This is why I might be too tired to do this, right? So if we are dragging horizontally, then, it's not like we want to clamp the new width based on the height, right? The width is what's changing. So um, so if new aspect is less, it means we're dragging horizontally to the right or vertically up or both, right? Um, if it's vertically up, we want to make it smaller. If it's horizontally to the right, we want to make it bigger. Um, what if it's both? If it's both, see, this is where it gets. I mean, if it's both, we want the biggest one. I don't know. Is there some simpler rule for this? I feel like there might be a really simple rule. Like I'm about to write a bunch of if statements, but there might be just a thing that you do, right? is there some simplifying factor? Let's just program incomplete, just doing horizontal drag for now. And we'll just see how that works, and we'll figure it out. So if the new aspect is less, that means we want to make it bigger. Couldn't I clamp on min aspect ratio? I don't know what that means. I don't know what clamping on min aspect ratio means. I feel like there is a simplifying thing, because what you would say, if you just thought about this not in terms of flags, but in terms of mouse deltas, right? So like if dx, then we're moving horizontally, right? And you want to shrink or grow. And if dy, we're moving vertically, then you want to shrink or grow. And then you want the biggest dimension out of each of those for diagonal. So maybe you run it and then max it. You run it on both and then max it. Anyway, if new aspect is less than aspect h over w for horizontal drag, then let's put our print statement back for a second, because we don't have a visual indicator, and if this doesn't work. All right, so we're just literally going to do dragging to the right. In that case, the new aspect is too small. So what we want to do is say new aspect is, or no, new h is aspect h over w times new w. Like literally that's it, right? Why do I run the wrong thing? Okay, so here I'm dragging to the right. It's not proportional drag though. All right, so now I'm going to hold shift and I'm dragging to the right. Whoa, check it out. Okay, we don't do left. That's the problem. We don't do left. Also, we're like not, we're doing this before we max out. Oh. We're going to have to also, like, that's the thing. That's a whole, see? Make proportional resizing not cause us to go off the screen. Okay. Dude, we're 337 lines already. I was just saying how it's only 280, and now we're 337. Sag. Okay, if new aspect. Oh, you know what? Either of these is this, right? Dang it. Come on. So proportional. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Okay. So problem is here we got nothing because we're doing the x computation, right? Like any proportional drag is only paying attention to x, which okay, no, I know how to do it. Okay, we got it. All right, so if dx and not dy, we do this, right? dy and not dx, right? Else, we're going to leave this one blank for a second. So here, new w equals how do I want to do this divide? We're just going to go, we know this isn't 0. Is that right? I don't control C successfully all the time. Okay, so proportional, boom, proportional, there. See, I'm controlling the vertical, we control the vertical, we control the horizontal. Okay, so now it's just this case, which we're not proportionalizing there. And how do we choose? Well, we say, how far are we from where we started? Maybe that's not right. I could say, which axis have we moved the most on since we started? Is that right? I don't think it actually is. I think we just, like, there's got to be something that's completely consistent, right? So how do we decide? Oh yeah, okay. Okay, here's what we do. Here's what we do. Here is what we do. All right. We do use how we have moved since the beginning. And do we even have that? No. Okay. Okay. And honestly, we could make a function with like these 5 freaking lines in them or something. Okay. So we're setting the dragging start y. So now we're going to say total dx is mouse x float minus state dot dragging start x. And if we get this right, we're just going to be able to delete the if statements and do this for all of them. So total dy is this. Denom is if total dx, then total dx else 1. Now total aspect is, so we take the aspect ratio of how far your cursor has moved since the beginning, right? And that determines which one we pay attention to, right? So total aspect is total dy divided by denom. All right, now if total aspect, this is going to look a lot like what other things we were typing. If total aspect is greater than new aspect, right? Else if, not total spect, is less than new aspect, we do a thing here, right? If total aspect is greater than new aspect, this means we have dragged out in Y, so so Y controls the aspect ratio. Right? Right? Something like that. Okay. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay, is it? No, it doesn't. Okay, I feel like I fucked up the Y part, kind of. No, maybe not. Hmm. Okay, well this is extra weird because of the mouse constrain thing. I think we're constantly hitting against that relative versus absolute problem. So I'm not sure I can trust this. Like here, we're not switching back and forth, but here, maybe we are. Like this is fine for a while. We're kind of sticking to X. Um, eh. Okay, I'm not sure whether what we did is conceptually the right thing, or if the execution is wrong, or if we're burned by the absolute versus relative. I got all excited for a minute. This works. That works. Do you still draw the diagonal even if you're doing this? Or do you draw the vertical but have it be proportional? I don't know, man. Anyway. Okay, this is okay. There is definitely a relative versus absolute thing here because watch, if I proportional drag this, I'm going until I'm bigger than the... Oh, there was a point where we cross aspect ratios. I don't know. That's confusing. It's confusing. It's 1 in the morning in Florida. So it really, I think I want to do the switch over to absolute coordinates first anyway. Because really the way that you want to look at it is the following. It's like, look, it should be pinned either based on, the right margin should match up with the cursor on the right, or the bottom should match up with the cursor on the bottom at all times, right? And there'll be some transition region where you go from one to the other. as you drag, right? And the problem is, so when we get that right, it'll be obvious that it's right. And the problem right now is we can't tell because, like, I think this is maybe wrong, but I can't really tell. It feels wrong, but I can't tell. So we got to fix that. Lock the cursor position relative to the window drag position. That's going to feel terrible. No, you want Shroud is going to be angry if he can't control the cursor exactly. Could you just assign the cursor to the max x, max y coordinate when clicking and dragging from the corner? No. You can't assign the cursor to anything because the cursor controls the size. Anyway, so that's going to be the thing is next time to fix the absolute versus relative thing anyway, because we have to fix that. It's on our to-do list. Um, and then once we have that fixed, I'll go back and do this, and it'll be like, okay, come on, let's get it right this time. And it should be pretty easy. I think. That said, I may just still be confused, but at least we'll be confused in a clearer way after that. All right, thanks everybody. Have a good night. I'm going to bed. I'll see you later.